Today we welcome back Marty Hannon from World Changer Consulting, and also a new addition to World Changer Consulting, Julie Adduci. I hope I pronounced that properly.
Yes, you did.
Excellent.
Got to do my Vanna since we're on Facebook Live.
Now, Marty, could you start off by maybe giving us an update on what the new things that have been happening in World Changer Consulting?
I'd love to, Kathy. We were just talking right before we went on air how fun it is that you guys have been part of since the beginning of my journey, and you've been watching me grow, and I feel so honored to be able to come and share my updates every so often. And so, yeah, this has been an exciting year, really refining how World Changer Consulting is affecting those individuals and making sure those caregivers are feeling that nurturing, that support, that education that they need to really get the job done that's put before them. So I have now numerous team members that have joined me and that believe in the mission and the vision and are helping me expand what we're offering and get it out there, because it was all just me and that was way too much.
I remember that's when she started here, when I first initially met you, and it sounded like she was already doing the work of 10 people. So it's nice to know that you can expand, knowing that you have got people together now.
The work of 100 or 100 people, because now you've got 10 people working with you.
Yeah, right.
Well, and now
good to know.
not as many balls will drop.
There you go. There you go. I like
That's
that.
the key.
Mm-hmm. And Julie, tell us more about yourself and what brought you to this.
Yeah, well, Marty and I met years back when we worked together. I actually hired Marty for recreational therapy at a facility we were both working at. And she was a hard sell because she had been a consultant. However, I had a strong belief that she was going to bring quality and value to my residents and the families. And she also had dementia-specific background, as I do. And it seemed like a good match for her and I to do program development and to work with the families. And her mission, philosophy, and ethics dovetailed beautifully with mine. So I felt it was a good match for us to go forward and program and work directly with our families and our staff, teaching our staff as well. So I myself have been in the healthcare arena for many years, and I started in hospital social work and then moved on to long-term care, senior living, and have been in senior living for many, many years as an administrator / executive director. And in those years of working with families and other professionals and clients and patients, it came to me that I wanted to step out of the top leadership role at this point in my life and be able to kind of go back to my roots, which I consider the passion that I have for both the older adults, the families that have gone through some of the things that we're going to talk about today, and the caregiving role specifically. So I was really happy when I decided to step down and join Marty and her team, because I believe fully in everything that they're embracing.
I'm super excited she finally decided to join, and she's on all the way, which is fantastic. And I promised her I'd get her laughing on this show because she is hilarious, and I think she's trying to be super professional.
Well, I know I sing and dance a lot, but I didn't know that I would do that today.
We used to do that in the office all the time when it was really tough. We would crank the music in my office, and she would come in and we'd be like, we get knocked down, but we get up again.
That's one of my favorites, Yeah.
She would dance down the hall for the residents. It was just fantastic. So she's a perfect complement to what I'm doing. And I always like to joke that I interviewed her to make sure that I wanted to work there. And she worked hard to make sure I got on board. And
yes, I did.
It. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And it was a lot of fun. We had good times together.
It was very well worth it.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of professional healthcare experience. Could you tell us more about what you learned from your family caregiving experience?
You know, you think you know so many things when you work in healthcare, and I had done family counseling and family meetings and plans of care and sat in on all the clinical issues related to caregiving and end-of-life decision-making. And then when you're presented in your family with the fact that first your father becomes disabled and your mom is the primary caregiver, but there needs to be somebody in the family who takes charge of the situation along with the direct caregiver. So, with my background and the jobs that I had done, it was just okay that I jumped in and began to manage things with my mother as his caregiver with tremendous support from my family members. So we navigated through that, and then not long after that, my youngest brother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he chose no treatment. So we came together once again as a family to determine what would be best for him, ask him what his preferences were. One of the key things to me when you're working with a patient, especially if they're alert, is to be sure that you're acknowledging their wishes and desires, and you do things in a way that they want, not something that you think is good, not something that you've heard about, but something that they want for the last part of their life or the end of life journey. So my dad had passed away, then we started managing my brother, and once again I was at the forefront of putting together plans for him in how he would spend his end of life. And then while he was actively dying, my mom was diagnosed with vascular dementia. And she had been very independent prior to that, but then there were some key things that we saw as a family. And then I had her evaluated, and we realized she had vascular dementia. She had some what they call transient ischemic attacks, which is a very mild CVA or vascular incident. And so we needed to once again come together as a family and put together a plan of care for mother. So in this ongoing familial caregiving coordination, I became what I call a navigator. And I've been blessed with a family that was willing and able to both financially, emotionally, and physically support the care of each of these people.
Wonderful.
So one of the keys I found in providing care to people you love and that want to stay in their home was the organization. You needed to be organized. You needed to have advanced directives in place. You need to look at the financials. What can they afford? What would we have to add so that my mom could stay in her home as long as possible, which was, of course, her preference, which is very frequently people's preference. Everybody doesn't want to go to a facility, and yet, at times, that is the best option. And at the very end of her life, she was in a facility for just a few months before she passed. However, with a lot of structure and care navigation, we got through each of those individuals' end-of-life experience in a very ethical way and also in a way that recognized their choice.
There's something to do with the healing that it does for the family, too, knowing that you assisted in their passing in such a loving way.
I can honestly tell you that what we did is I'm blessed with some professionals in my family besides myself. So I have a sister who's been in healthcare for a long time, myself, my brother who has done medical malpractice. So we came to the table with our own knowledge base, which every family doesn't have that opportunity. But again, that is even more so, though, why I feel doing things like working with a caregiver and working with a family is so essential, because everybody isn't going to have those built-in resources in their family. So when we did our caregiving and I put together the schedule of either the paid caregivers and the family who would be opting to take their time or spend time with one of them, we had an actual schedule, and the older grandchildren participated in the end-of-life process with my brother and also with my mother.
Wow.
So I believe that caring for someone, as they say, it takes a village to raise children, but it takes a village to help an older adult through a difficult time in their life, or a person with a disability, or a person with a terminal diagnosis.
Absolutely.
So for me, you need to come together, you need to communicate. I just can't say that enough. And then you have to understand your resources, and the things that Marty and I do, we bring that to the families.
Yeah, because not all families can communicate like that. So tell us, how do your services help a family with someone, living at home in a facility or in a nursing facility?
Well, just so you know, I was on a call yesterday with a woman, and she has 7 or 8 siblings, I believe. And once again, she seems to be the primary caretaker, decision maker, the power of attorney for healthcare, the power of attorney for property, the executor of the will. You know, she's got it all. And when we talked about the interventions that the family provides, they're very limited. So, of course, what I did is I said, I think it's time for a family meeting with myself and you and the siblings and whomever else you want to bring in, so that we can figure out how all of this isn't resting only on you. So I will do, and I do conduct family conferences or family meetings. And if you live out of state, we Zoom or Skype and get everybody on board, get them up to date on what's going on with their loved one, what kinds of needs are there, whether it be financial, emotional, or actual physical presence. So we would always do a family meeting, and some families will not join you, but oftentimes they will. And you have to kind of take a look at the dynamics in that family, and everyone's going to come to the table with their own thoughts or their own prejudices against what their role should be.
Just to follow up on that, have you kind of come across a situation where you had to kind of take some steps to intervene to help the family heal themselves a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't mention it earlier, but the spiritual side of things is always part of our journey. And I can honestly say that in some of my family work, people have been referred and suggested to seek out, whether it be a spiritual advisor or possibly a group, you know, join a group. So there's different avenues they can travel in order to manage emotionally what is happening. Everybody deals with life differently, so we deal with the end of life differently too. So there's no roadmap that is identical because we're all individuals.
I would add, Julie has a beautiful story, and you don't have to share it, but her family has been so appreciative of how, especially with your mother, how you helped the family come together around her passing. And so I don't know if you want to share part of that. You don't have to, but
Which
Well, now she does.
yeah.
one of the things I think that's
I don't like being on the spot.
important. Now, are you talking about her birthday celebration?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a point where my mom was failing cognitively, and everybody was on board. Everybody was kept updated by myself or my sister. We were right there. Here's what's going on right now. Here's the last evaluation. Here's the medication change. And all of it was I kept spirals for all this. I know now everybody has a folder on the computer, but I was of the writing it in the spiral age. My mom's birthday was coming up, but prior to that, on Christmas Eve, I host a Christmas Eve family gathering, which is incredible and has gone on for many years. And I found her sitting in a rocking chair in the corner. So I went up and I said, "Mother, are you having a good time?" And, "Oh, yes," very polite, gentle lady. And I said, "Well, you're not really talking to anybody. And I just wondered if you're having a good time." And she, "Oh, yeah, it's always fine." Well, I knew it wasn't fine. So before she went home, I said, "Mom, what goes on when we're all together?" And she said to me, "Well, I can't really hear, so I don't know what any of you are saying. And we're big talkers.
Oh.
We're Irish. And we talk over each other and talk at the same time." And so the poor woman had not a chance to hear anything. So what I did is then in March, when her birthday came, I let them know in advance. My younger sister was bringing a trunk full of photographs from my mom. I'm sorry, this will get me, but from my mom's life and her life with my dad, who was her partner and best friend. And I told them the purpose of getting together on that Sunday afternoon is for every single one of you to spend time with Mom, one-on-one. Look at her. She has to hear you. Talk to her. Ask her questions. And then for all the grandchildren, what I wanted them to do, no matter how old they were, is to take a seat next to her and let her tell them who the people were in the pictures and photographs, of which she was one. She was one of 13 children.
Wow.
So there were a lot of pictures and a lot of memories. And as you all know, long-term memory stays with you more so than short-term. And this went on for hours. And then, of course, we had our pizza and all that other kind of fun. And when we were done, it's hard for me.
No, I'm so glad
sorry.
you shared the story. Thank you so much.
When we were done, she looked at me and said to me, "This is the best birthday I've ever had."
Oh,
And I,
Good
you know,
for you.
was very grateful.
Mhm.
And again, as I say, I can only count my blessings with my siblings and all my nieces and nephews and children and spouses and all those people that make this happen. And so it was a beautiful day for her. She got to be heard. She got to interact with some of the grandchildren she didn't see as often, like as mine, which was practically every day. So it was that tying things together for her, because it wasn't too long after that she needed to go into a facility because she had started a fire, she had wandered outdoors. Many things had happened, even with us providing caregiving and spending time with her and that sort of thing. So it was just, I felt, a gift that we gave her that has more meaning for all of us and certainly for her. And she may not remember it the next day. I don't know, but she knew in that moment.
There's something to be said for that too, though, is if you do have gatherings like that. I know my father-in-law is that way, that he sits himself away from everybody, because almost when you have that many people in a large group, it becomes overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is probably because of not being able to hear. So that's a great story to share, so everybody kind of gets in on the same board. I know I was trying to go in for the tissue. I thought it was just me.
Hopefully, thank you so much for sharing that. Hopefully what that will do is inspire some other families to put some effort toward doing some one-on-one interactions in a party setting.
Yeah.
And what I can really suggest to them, if they're a family that's been at odds with each other, come together for the purpose of the person that brought you into the world or that has meant a lot to you at certain stages of your life. Put your baggage outside and come in and join. You can still be effective even if there's distance for whatever reason in a family.
Yeah, well said.
So could you talk about, what you plan on doing with your work with World Changer Consulting? Kind of lay out your vision, so to speak.
I'll go ahead and answer that. Give Julie time to compose herself, since
Thank
I
you.
threw a curveball
Thank
at
you
you.
for sharing that, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm really glad you were willing to be vulnerable, even though I threw it at you. It was unexpected, but
Thank you, yeah.
it was. I think
Wait
it
till
will
you
be.
get in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That story is so powerful and meaningful, and I think it will affect a lot of people. So I'm really glad you shared that.
Thank you.
With our services, that was a question, right?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
services are we offering? So we have 5 practitioners now, associates, that are working together with World Changer Consulting. So we offer care navigation. We offer the caregiving consulting. I also call it caregiver mentoring. That kind of resonates with people a little bit more.
Sure.
And then we offer leadership coaching. We have a certified leadership coach, executive coach. And we also have somebody that works with us who is a recreational therapist that has a disability herself. She has cerebral palsy, and she is a caregiver in an aspect to her husband and her mom. And so she brings a different dynamic of what it's like
yeah.
to be in a caring role after your family has been in a caring role toward you, and trying to bridge that gap and take on that role. It has unique challenges. So she brings a wonderful blend to that as well. And so we're doing these different types of caregiving coaching, leadership coaching, individual coaching. And then we have our classes. My favorite part is the Academy, World Changer Academy. And it's something that you have been participating with, having classes on my calendar.
Right.
And now I actually have a team that can help me promote it, which is great.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and that's one of my new team members.
So tell us about the classes.
Yes. So it's all the classes that I feel are necessary for somebody who's going into a caring role with their family member or a professional. So you need to have CPR. You need to have an understanding of mental health. So I offer mental health first aid, and I offer CPR and first aid in collaboration with others. We offer Dementia Live, which is an experiential program for you to help develop empathy and awareness and what somebody's going through. And you guys introduced me that and do that. And then we offer communication with somebody who has dementia. We partner with Dementia Raw for that, Silver Dawn. And they do such a beautiful job with training people how to interact and get into somebody's reality by teaching them improv skills. And I'm shocked at how well people grab onto that and are able then to connect, because it doesn't come naturally to everybody.
No.
It's a real challenge for a lot of people. So I'm really excited about that class. And so we offer classes at, and we have several others, caregiving years, the 6 stages of the caregiving journey. So we have a number of classes that cover the dying process, having peace during your journey, finding joyful moments. So it's all about nurturing those families. It's all about equipping them, educating them, so they really feel prepared for the role they're taking on. And that's where I want to see World Changer Academy to be a location that they feel comfortable coming to and saying, I need help, I need to learn how to do this, and I need to learn how to take care of myself in the process.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the location. You have a unique setting there, I understand.
I do. I'm so honored that I work with St. Michael's Lutheran Church. They give me a very kind deal. Thank you, St. Michael's, in LaGrange Park. And they actually have been a prominent member of the community for quite a long time. And now it's their population is kind of aging out a little bit, but they offer such beautiful services. So I'm hoping that will be a center for families to come to and get their needs met in different ways. So it's a church center, and I use the spaces for others who are independent contractors to be able to come and utilize that space, and we help them promote and yeah, it's great. So many different spaces available.
Cool.
And so are you going to be speaking at the caregiving conference this year in November?
I am. Thank you
Want to
again.
talk about that?
I think last year you got me on the caregiving conference and I couldn't remember where it was at. I think I'm speaking like on 3 different things. I'm on a panel for dementia care, and I am I'm teaching about vitality in life with Ageless Grace, using Ageless Grace brain and body fitness, along with essential oils and other elements to be able to incorporate in your life. Yeah. So, and I've been working with Denise Brown and caregiving.com quite a lot, and teaching her classes and working with her to get those families the support they need. And it is a wonderful website, caregiving.com, to be able to go to build that community. When you don't have time to go to a support group, they have the support group online and over the phone sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's great. I will be working with people on understanding the stages of caregiving that Denise had founded years back. And it is an excellent tool to help people identify where they are in their caregiving role, and what they can actually call it and how they can work through it. So I think that is essential for people who are caregiving.
We have, and I'm going to be speaking at a conference coming up in Michigan. This is the next big thing. So I have to share it with you guys.
Yeah.
She's going national now.
I'm going national. It's a combination of Stephen Ministries, which is a Christian lay ministry counseling support, and this compilation of Christian counselors in Michigan, and they asked me to lead their quarterly conference. And so I'm going to be speaking on how to find joy in the midst of those difficult, troubling times, and really sharing from my life experience and some of my professional experience, and really helping them tap into, how do I stay connected? How do I develop the coping skills? How do I do the best I can in this situation? So, and it's going to be, the first part will be for families, and then they want me to do it again for professionals. So I'm available for national
she's
conferences.
The thing now, yeah.
Stephen Ministers is a really, really big thing. A lot of churches have Stephen Ministers. That's wonderful.
I'm very honored that they invited me to do it. And it was through my connection with caregiving.com that they found me. So I have to give Denise Brown a lot of credit for helping me connect with other opportunities out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much for being our guest today. You know, time flies. You
Yeah.
can't even, we talk about that all the time, how fast the half hour goes, because there's so much to talk about. You share so much information. So thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Jeanette.
very much.
Could you go through kind of your website, how to get in contact with you, and then the address for your academy?
Sure.
Don't forget that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we are World Changer Consulting. You can search our name and we'll come up. It's worldchangerconsulting.com. And on Facebook, it's the same, World Changer Consulting. My phone number is 312-301-1140. And you can always reach us through the website, by phone, and we're active on social media. So, and my address, you said, to the church.
Yes.
Thank you. 500 East 31st Street in LaGrange Park. And that's St. Michael's Lutheran Church.
And for anybody who is watching or following along on Facebook Live, I do have your World Changer Academy schedule.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, sometimes seniors can't transfer, or they don't have any ambulation. You can't transfer them, they can't walk. So we have this special device called a Hoyer lift that would get them up out of bed.
Deb Blank is an amazing long-term caregiver with us, and she's the gold standard of caregivers. She has a beautiful disposition and just a beautiful way about her.
Deb is a phenomenal individual. She is very compassionate. She's very down to earth. I've seen just so many things with her when she comes into the office. She helps with training. She helps with the new hires. She shows her leadership skills through that.
Deb seems to have a heart for the clients that are really challenging, and the other caregivers say, I don't want to go back to him. He's not very kind, or they just don't seem very happy, and she takes on those challenges effortlessly.
You just have to have a way with people, and it's not something that you're taught. It's just something that's within you, I think, that you have.
Deb is a gifted person. We can entrust in her to work with hospice clients, Alzheimer's patients. She is sweet. She has a great sense of humor, so we love that we can joke around with her. She doesn't take life too seriously, and I think her clients really enjoy being around her because of that.
You know what? I always wanted to be a beach bum. Smackdown. Doing all right? Coffee. I feel like you've got to have humor every day in your life. It's the best medicine. If you don't laugh every day, and your attitude means everything.
Anywhere. I could put her anywhere. I can't think of one client that she wouldn't fit with. She's just fantastic.
What I love about Deb is you can call her at any point in time. She's always more than happy to jump in. 3 weeks ago, I was in crisis mode. It was a Sunday. It was all hands on deck. I needed help with the shift, and she said, I'm wrapping up my dinner at Red Lobster. I'm on my way. She got there within 45 minutes. She's just a team player, willing to do anything, no questions asked. She was just ready to take on the shift.
I think participating in the Caregiver of the Year program, it is really important. If you've got somebody special, if you have somebody who just goes that extra mile, honor them. Let them know that they are valued. Do it for them.
I just want to say it's great to be here, but there's also one other reason that we're here. We wanted to come and celebrate with Steve and Carol, and we wanted to reconnect like a family reunion with Mary, but we also wanted to honor somebody that's really special. So I'm pleased to announce that Deb Blank is our 2018 National Caregiver of the Year.
I know, I'm still trying to absorb this. I called my daughter last night. It was like 11 o'clock. I said, are you still up? She says, yeah. I said, good.
The caregivers are everything to us. They represent the company to the clients. They become the friend of the client. More so than we as the owners. They become the soul of Right at Home.
You can't teach compassion. you have to have that, and it's hard to find people with it. It shines through, not only when she's caring for, again, with Mr. Brady, but to everyone around her.
We can promise everything. We can make all these promises of how wonderful we're going to be, but the caregivers are the ones that actually have to deliver that promise that we make to people. So we have to have good people, and Deb is definitely one of those people.
Congratulations, Deb.
Congratulations, Deb.
Congratulations, Deb!
Congratulations, Deb, for being named Right at Home's 2018 Caregiver of the Year.
I'm Deb Blank, and I'm the #1 caregiver for Right at Home. It's just part of the day. It's part of me, and I don't do it for accolades or awards. You know, to me, it's like I say, if I can change or touch one person, it makes a difference to me. You know, it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. That's my reward.